Alright, this is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword for the Nintendo Switch. This game originally came out in 2011 for the Wii. It was one of the later Zelda games on the Wii. Obviously, Twilight Princess, I believe, was... Yeah, that one launched with the Wii, and it came out on the GameCube. It was late on the GameCube. And then much later, this one came out, and I don't know, I think it kind of passed a lot of people by, maybe 2011 coming out on the Wii. That was based a lot on motion controls. I think that's maybe another issue that people had with this game. I certainly wouldn't have cared for playing this game with the motion control, but basically they tied Link's sword to the Wii Motion Plus. So you swinging your sword around, you swung the remote thingy around, and it was tied pretty much 1-to-1. So that ties into the gameplay in that, like, if you need to do a side slash or like an up and down slash or a jab, that was all done with your motion controls. And again, some people probably didn't like that. I probably wouldn't have really cared for that too much. But it's a great Zelda game otherwise, I think. I think so. I'm enjoying playing a 3D Zelda game on the Switch. That isn't Breath of the Wild. I like this more linear, if you would call it that. It's not really linear, but I mean, compared to the open world of Breath of the Wild, it certainly is more of a traditional 3D Zelda game, and I like that. It looks pretty good on the Switch. Obviously, it's an older game, and it doesn't seem like the Switch has too much of an issue running it. I say that because it seems to me like the battery life's really good playing this game compared to some other games that I've played on the Switch. I keep thinking the battery's going to be much lower than it is, and when I stop to check, I realize I have a lot more battery life than I was expecting. And I assume that's because, again, it's an older game. It's not really pushing the Switch, it's not really pushing the graphics or anything too hard, but it still looks okay, especially on the small screen. You got to remember, I'm playing this on a Switch Lite with the small screen. No motion controls. I guess you could play it with motion controls if you had a regular Switch and you had the little, what are they called? They don't even have a Switch. I don't know, the little nunchuck thingies. They're not nunchucks, they're Joy-Cons. Yeah, if you have the Joy-Cons, I guess you could do the motion control, but again, I'm on a Switch Lite, so I don't have the Joy-Cons, and I'm playing it, I guess you would say, traditionally. So no motion controls, at least not really. The whole sword thing, that all gets tied to the right analog stick. So if you move the right analog stick, horizontally, he'll swipe his sword horizontally, or if you swipe the right analog stick, vertically, he'll slash vertically. If you wiggle it, he'll move the sword around. If you click it in, he'll jab. So everything's been moved from the motion controls to the right analog stick. That took me a little bit of getting used to, because the right analog stick being your sword means that it's not the camera. It's not your it's not it's not your camera. It's not looking around with the camera. So in this game, you walk around, obviously run around with the left analog stick, but it's not like a twin analog stick game where naturally you're going to move the camera around with the right analog stick. You have to hold L, like the left bumper, to move the camera around. So you're constantly holding L. You're constantly holding the left bumper to move the camera around if you want to play it like a twin stick camera. So that's a little weird, but I think it's a good compromise. Again, being able to play this game not tied to the motion controls of the Wii, I think is nice. And yeah, this is just a great Zelda game, great world. It takes place obviously in both this sky, it's like the sky loft, I think it's called, is kind of where you start, and then you go down to the surface, and you're going back and forth between like the sky world and the surface world. But yeah, once you get into dungeons and stuff, it's 100% what you would expect out of a 3D Zelda game. And I have heard some complaints overall with this game as far as like there's not a lot of variety in the boss fights, maybe, for example. But again, to be playing a 3D, traditional, almost 3D Zelda game on the Switch. I'm really enjoying it, and it was worth picking up. The Switch version here came out in 2021 and 2021, so actually fairly recently, I guess, considering. I ended up picking up this copy used from a game store. I think it was $59.99, but like brand new, this game is $79.99 Canadian. So yeah, I mean, I only saved $20, but it's in immaculate condition, as you can see. It's basically brand new, so I figured why not save $20. Anyways, have you guys played Skyward Sword? Did you skip it on the Wii because you weren't into the motion controls? And if so, maybe it's worth checking out here on the Switch. I think it's a great 3D Zelda game to be playing on the Switch. And yeah, let me know what you think. Pick it up if you haven't played this one. See you guys later.